Two Women Talking is back, and it is TWT with G. Two Women Talking with a Guy. Eileen and Julian are back because we are talking Doctor Who again. Specifically, we are talking about the 13th Doctor, because Eileen is now caught up. We talked about that she hadn't finished seeing it all when we talked about 15, but Eileen is now caught up. She is now understands the wonder that is Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor. And while we were watching it, Julian was saying they complained about this and they complained about that. And we were like, what? So this bit of Two Women Talking, it'll be split in three parts. And we're going to focus on the three main bucket of complaints. Bad writing is going to be the first one. It breaks canon is going to be the second. And I'll save the last one because people are going to have thoughts about that. And I don't want to drop it until we're right there because the denial, the river in Egypt level denial kicks in. And so you'll have to wait for the end to find out what the third one is. But Julian, you're sort of the PQVN. You are our doctor on all things doctor. So explain the bad writing for us, the accusation, because Chris Chibnall's a great writer.
Yeah, and I'm not exactly sure if they watched the same show I did, because there was a lot of excitement and hope because of Broadchurch, because Broadchurch had aired first, and he did that, and people loved it. So there was an expectation that this was coming to Doctor Who, and frankly, I thought he did it. He brought a lot of good stuff to Doctor Who. But I think they also built it up in their head where they were going to shake things up in a way that they wanted, and he certainly did shake things up. But it gets worse in that I also think a big part of it is, despite people loving, I'm seeing a lot more love for 12 now, which, okay, yay, great for Peter Capaldi. Great actor. I really think people stopped watching during 12. I think they tuned in because everybody always tunes in when a new doctor's in. So I think they tuned in, and it always peters out at the spider episode. They got to the spider episode, and it's always, oh my God, the doctor was going to kill the spider. No doctor would do that. I mean, look at 12. He never killed anybody except with a gun that forced him to regenerate, which is like nothing, you know.
Did any companions survive 12?
You want to get technical? Bill did.
No.
As nanotech.
No, Bill did
Was
not.
nanotech.
Did I got confused with Nardole. Did he survive?
I mean,
He technically survives, and
yeah.
if you looked at the novelization, he makes peace with the Cybermen
Okay,
until he
yes.
eventually dies.
Yeah, but he did survive. But I mean,
Yeah.
12 was all about I'm coming for you, Gallifrey. I mean,
Yeah.
he was prepared to kill. That was what I found. So, what is this? Now, to back you up, I did look it up. The ratings peaked like at the beginning of 12's run.
Yep.
And that last season with 12, they did start to free fall. Now, 13's first episode went back up to like 10 million viewers, up from like 4.
Yep.
And then it sort of went back to baseline and kind of slowly declined. Now, a lot of things were happening there. Just for people who don't know, one, HBO was the production partner on 13. That was different. Chris Chibnall was not just the writer, he was also the showrunner, taking over from Stephen Moffat, and they're very, very different showrunners. 3, COVID hit during the last season, the last series, as they call it in the UK. So I'm gonna say, how do you guys feel about it? I'm gonna say that the rushed elements of that last series, that we got to give them the COVID grace. That's not what they could do under normal circumstances. Okay, we all agree. So, Eileen, you were new to this. What did you think of the writing?
Well, overall, I think, okay, first of all, I don't believe it's bad. writing. Um, I said this during the last series, the whole Flux arc, that they were, like they were brave to do a whole overarching arc. I believe everyone else shooting during COVID, especially in Doctor Who, would have just, we're going to do a bunch of one-off episodes and people will understand because this is COVID. But no, they did a whole overarching arc. Was it rushed? Yes. Was it maybe needed a couple more episodes? Yeah. But they deliver on the setting, they wrap up the arcs. The companions had their own arc, and they each had their own ending. And it was epic in a scale that was literally like the universe scale, like the bravery of these people to do this during COVID. It was ambition. Uh, Maybe it needed a couple more episodes, but I believe it delivered. I don't believe it was bad writing. I don't think a bad writer would have been able to even set this up to the level that this season did it. Overall, the whole season, the whole 13th Doctor, she's climbed up to be maybe one of my favorite doctors, if not the favorite doctor. Uh, she has a good combination of what I believe is good modern Doctor Who and the best of classic Doctor Who. She is witty. She thinks first, she acts second. When she doesn't, there is a proper consequence for it. She sonics everything, which I love. And fundamentally, she tries to do good, even when good isn't always easy. I believe that is a mark of good writing.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. She's definitely up there. If you remove David Tennant because too easy, I do think she's up there with some of the best, not just performances. She had his kind of rubber-faced, carbonated
Yeah.
energy, but I think one of the best characterizations of that doctor, you sort of understood uh she had that unknowable quality that you have to have in the doctor because Time Lords are not humans. But you sort of knew who she was. She was very techy. She loved her sonic screwdriver. Okay, how did we feel that? Is that Julian? Is that her sonic
It's her Sonic.
replica? Yeah, I mean, she made it out of
Yeah.
stone.
This had a lot of complaints
I know.
because it looks like it might have three settings apparently. Catch my drift. And
12's has four. I have the 12 replica. It's back there. His has more settings than hers.
I
Because
was still waiting for you to bring that
there's
up.
two green sounds and two blue sounds. Like if you're gonna get, and he had like, and that was the thing about 12. I felt like they kind of crapped on the Sonic with the Sonic sunglasses and then the guitar
Yeah.
and yeah, like the Sonic screwdriver is one of those things. We'll save this for part two. That he's got the TARDIS, he's got the sonic screwdriver, he's got the psychic papers, as ridiculous as that is. And it's funny that I keep saying his when I'm talking about the 13th Doctor. Canonically on the wiki, it is they. Um, One of the things I will say for people about the writing, it says here on the wiki that there was some shenanigans going on in that last season about how many episodes they were getting. Now, people who have been following what's been going on with the Disney deal, this will sound very familiar. But originally, the final run of 13, Chibnall said it would be 6 episodes plus 2 specials. Then they went up to 11. Uh, but then they went back down to 9 because of COVID. So they did the 8.
Okay.
Yeah. They did the 8 and then they were gonna do because they had that trio of specials that is much maligned, but I thought they were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so they did those 3 specials and apparently they were worried that HBO was not going to let them have the time to have 13 regenerate.
Hmm.
And it was so nail biter. Now, this, if you read about the history of Doctor Who's financing, this is an issue. The only one that did not have this issue, I think, was like 11 and 12 because it
Oh
was
yeah,
big.
because
Yeah.
yeah, they were licensed everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a thing with Doctor Who of they barely make it through all these distribution deals because for a while there was a co-production with the CBC. I don't remember if that was during 10 or 11's run, but none of the production partners get the returns I guess they expect for
Mhm.
the money they put in. And I'm not sure why, because Doctor Who has always been sort of a niche thing. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, it's like, what is this? Because trust the doctor just means go with it. Half of this is not going to make sense. And
I'll
Yeah.
explain later.
yeah, I'll explain later. And
Okay,
that's,
so there you go. They had shenanigans
yeah.
with how much they were done. Obviously, they were writing as they were, and when cuts had to be made, that they had to be made because financing goes over their head. They have no control over it.
I do think that hats off to Chris Chibnall because I mean Broadchurch was a very different thing. I'm surprised, Julian, that they thought that it was going to be like Broadchurch because first of all, child murder in Doctor Who. Okay. Um and the other things, I don't want to spoil Broadchurch for people who haven't seen it because it's really well done, but most of the themes of that show um you can't put in a kid's show. And Doctor Who is a family show. Congrats to Doctor Who for um uh winning, what is it? Best TV critics, best family show,
Best
Julian?
family show, yeah.
Yeah, best family show.
Hooray!
Yeah, but that was 15's run. So good for them. Much needed, I think. Kudos. But the thing that it did deal with that is similar to Broadchurch, I think, I'm curious what you two think, is this idea that even in tightly knit groups, people have secrets. You know, that was a big part of Broadchurch, is that this small town where everybody knew each other going way back, there were so many secrets, and people didn't really even know the people closest to them. And I thought that they got into this interesting thing on 13 is the doctor has always been sort of, I don't know what word to use, kind of an avoidant, anxious avoidant attachment style
Mhm.
with the companions, right? That
Well,
desperately
yeah,
want
they are
company.
always yeah,
Yeah,
they are always running on the
yeah.
run.
But the tendency to keep the companions at arm's length started back with Nine and that super problematic relationship with Rose.
Ew.
And I mean the power imbalance with Doctor Who and the companions, especially when they get romantic, which I always think is sort of a
Ew.
It's weird, isn't it?
well,
Yeah.
because of the imbalance of power. There's such an age gap, there's such an experience gap. And the fact that the doctor is removing someone from their lives and this ongoing thing about they have to go back sometime. And the two things I liked about 13's run, I'm curious what you guys think. One, most of the companions do choose to go back. The doctor doesn't just go, you're done, wipes on his mind. Thank God they fixed that. Um, because that thing of them pining for the doctor and I waited and my life has never been the same. That's super freaking problematic. And that goes back to like Rose and the fact that the modern Who has been very much working class parts of the UK. And Chibnall really brought that, bringing in both Sheffield and Liverpool
Mhm.
into the whole thing. And
International audiences sort of don't go on that
yeah.
because they hear a British accent and they think, oh, it's posh, but it's really not in this case.
Oh yeah, I mean, most of the doctors are Scottish and well, they let Capaldi be Scottish, but you know, Tennant was obviously doing that, what do they call it? I always get it wrong, but that sort of the way British actors talk, which is their version of a mid-Atlantic dialect that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, the Queen's English.
Yeah, and it's not even the Queen's English because she talks like King George does in Hamilton, but there's just this actor voice that Tennant
Yeah.
was doing. Jodie Whittaker's doing a very clear Sheffield, Sheffield, and then you bring in oh, what was the character's name? Liverpool.
Oh,
Liverpool
the
boy.
comedian? I'm going
Yeah, Dan. That was the character's name.
Dan.
Yeah. And they really went in.
John Bishop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the actor. They really went in on working class love with the turnover in those neighborhoods. I think a lot of people don't realize that the call outs to, Yaz being South Asian and Graham's late wife being black, and then, the fugitive doctor thing, that is part of those parts of the UK. They have been the immigration and the really cool bit about why Yaz's family ended up in that. I think I'm sidelining the other good writing point to talk about because I know we feel strongly about this. Julian, you can take it, and then Eileen, I know she will want to go yay. I argue, be it resolved, that the 13th Doctor's run has some of the best historical episodes in all of modern Who.
You get no argument from me there.
Yeah. But people complained about some of them, right?
People complained about the Rosa
Why?
one.
Uh,
I can't answer you. I know people complain about the Rosa one,
for people
and
who don't know, Rosa Parks is the Rosa in question, and they were meticulous on the details in that episode.
they
Yeah.
were exceedingly meticulous. I know I saw one complaint of, oh, the Doctor just has to insert herself into every historical thing, and I'm like, yeah, that's the point of the show.
12
It's a
punched a
time travel
guy.
show.
12 punched a guy in Victorian England for being
Yeah.
historically accurately racist to Bill.
Yeah, but this was
Meanwhile,
wrong.
poor Martha got stuck working as a maid for like a year because the
Yeah.
doctor forgot his memory again. That's going to be relevant later as well. So the Rosa Parks one was the one that people, I guess, because it's Rosa Parks.
That's what I'm guessing, because the other one, in regards to what happened when the British put in those boundaries for India and
India.
Pakistan,
Oh
like,
my God.
and I mean that one,
The partition.
I'm going to fully admit I was not aware of the
A
partition.
lot of people aren't.
So that was a really hard episode for me to watch and just go, what the hell?
Yeah.
So I learned all that, but the reaction was basically more or less what I had was, what? That happened? Oh no.
Oh yeah.
So that was more what I got from that historical episode than anything was horribly bad about it. So,
Yeah, I'm always, I've talked about this before. I'm always thrown by how people don't know about the partition of
Yeah.
India. But I only know about it because my friend's family was, except for her dad, were on Air India Flight 182. And that was bombing of an airplane in the 80s. The tensions exist to this day in that part of the
Yes.
world because of partition. And that was because it's like, well, why did they kill a 7-year-old girl? Her brother and the mom were on the plane too. And that's when I learned about, well, people in that part of the world all kind of hate each other. And a 6-year-old should not have to be confronted with this stuff. But my entire class, well, the grade 1 and 2 of the school had to confront
Yeah.
this.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's one of these huge historical events that, despite being huge, you only know if you know people from that community. Because I was the same. I was in the dark. Did I watch it in history class? Maybe. I don't remember. The first time that I remember hearing about it was because I was in university and I had people in my class from India.
Right.
If
And
not,
yeah.
shot in the dark.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of people, that was how Yaz's family came to um uh forget
Sheffield.
Sheffield. I forget the specific town That they basically on a map, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go there because I mean it tore. I mean, they really soft pedaled how much slaughter there was. So did Miss Marvel, who deals with the
Yeah, a
same
lot
part of
of
history.
people found out about it just because of the Miss Marvel show. That is how big it is,
Yeah.
and that is how a lot of people don't even know about it.
Yeah, and I mean, they think up to possibly more, 1 million people were killed in partition
Yeah.
because
And to this day, the tensions are like, oh my God.
it is as bad. You're talking about much larger populations, but it is as bad as the Israelis and the Palestinians for the same reason. It was the same tactic at the same point in time from, the early 1900s up until the 40s, where the British Empire started going, we can't fund all of this anymore. We're going to try to make
Yeah,
them all
we
fight.
can manage is we're going to partition it like cakes and
Yeah.
you're on your own.
Yeah.
I
So we're
help.
we're going to make them all fight to try to weaken both sides. Sound familiar? And then when that didn't work, we're just going to pull up stakes, put in arbitrary dividing lines, and they can kill each other. We don't care. We just want
Yeah.
out. And they dealt with that in a lot of the historical episodes. I'm blanking on the name of the historical figure in the awesome one with the Centaurans and the British military of the time.
Oh, the doctor.
Centaurans and horses.
Yeah, Centaurans on horses. Yeah. Yeah. That was a great one. That was the last series, wasn't it? That was
Yeah, I believe it was.
That was from Flux, yeah. It's
yeah, that was from Flux. I'm blanking on her name, the historical
s-
figure, and I'm kicking myself.
same here. That one was really well received, but she also met the 12th Doctor in the expanded media, so people were wondering if they would mention that, oh, I remember you when you were Scottish, so that
I didn't
didn't
know
happen.
that.
They did make a few jokes about that. And I can see the woman's face, and I can't believe I'm blanking. But let's move on to the cool double ender they did on Ada Lovelace and the whole Byron Shelley mess. And the fact that they called back to the Ada Lovelace episode in that Villa in Italy storyline. Like that was one of
And the historical episodes in this run.
and they picked the perfect Shelley poem to make. I thought that was one of the Doctor inspired this historical work of art moments. Because one, it's most people don't know the poems of Shelley anymore. But also the lines, the words could have been about her. It wasn't, oh no, the Doctor actually wrote Beethoven's Ninth Symphony or some absurd Baconite Shakespeare theory. It actually was just sort of, yeah, this could have happened.
Yeah.
They get annoyed with 13 for stuff like that. And yet, like Matt Smith literally said, I invented Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah.
I'm just, nope, everybody thinks that's funny and great. And like, why can't 13 have inspired something then?
Well, who was it? Apparently was a lover of Elizabeth I.
Oh, that was 10.
That was 10.
Tent.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big ish on history.
And he also, he got it out with Madame Pompadour. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny how all of a sudden they kind of woke up to this stuff and instead of thinking it was cute. But again, we're gonna save that for part 3. So I want to focus on the particular writing, the character voice for 13, because they did something different. Instead of her having a catchphrase, she was just like the queen of the zingers. She had all these great, like, boom, one-liners that were so good, and so many of them hit, and they were all in character. And Julian, how does anybody get bad writing from this with was there just too much good? So they are like, this is going past me too fast. It's bad. What do you think happened here?
Oh, collectively, I think people stopped watching it and just made assumptions from. And look at the internet. Half the time, the voices that are basically thrown out to the wind, that you hear are the ones that are going to hate on it, hate on it, hate on it. They even made a comment on that in the 60th when with the no things, saying that we hear the hate, the fear, the anger. Love doesn't travel far. And I'm
Mm.
just like, that's what I assume happened because every time I hear a complaint, uh, well, I love the one about the writing where 13 is very socially awkward, especially when Graham was pouring his soul out to her about his cancer diagnosis. And she was very socially awkward about that. We're like, well, 10 wouldn't have been that way. And I'm like, that's the point.
But
10 is a different incarnation.
10 was rude.
Social, rude and
Yeah.
socially awkward. 9 would have thrown it back in his face. 12 might have rolled his eyes. I mean,
Well,
it's a
12 was just was cruel
yeah.
at times.
12
So
was so cruel that he had to use cue cards that Clara gave him to
Yeah.
to be like, I am sorry that this happened for your loved one.
You know,
yeah,
People forgot about that.
yeah, that was because Moffat's fully admitted he was so invested in working on Sherlock that he had to just throw things at the last minute at Doctor Who. So those cue cards, and so that's actually a reference to Sherlock
yeah.
and his sociopathic tendencies. They're like, well, what happens if the Doctor's a sociopath,
Yeah.
dude?
And apparently now that is not, oh, that was the doctor just talking. None of the doctor, Sherlock just talking now. They
Yeah,
backed away from the idea of him being a high functioning sociopath because that is a desecration of Sherlock Holmes.
yeah.
His deductive methods are actually inductive methods informed by empathy. But let's talk about, since we mentioned Graham, let's talk about how good the companions were
Oh,
on that run.
Best companions. They are amazing.
Like Graham really, and a lot of those, the clunkiest parts were kind of the her. Everybody thinks he's the doctor because he's the man. To the point that, I mean, this kind of aged poorly, the poor guy, but they have Captain Jack Harkness like sexually assaulting him. Like, art,
That is what happened. That is the correct form to call it.
art imitating life. It just shows much how cultural standards have changed because that was played for laughs. That was like what, 2015? It wasn't
I
that long
believe
ago.
so.
when what happened with Captain Jack became public, or
No, when did that air? No, that would have
Yeah.
been, well, that would have been
2015 was 12, so this is around 2020, 2021.
right. It wasn't that long ago, but that was considered just jokey, haha. It's amazing how much Me Too
Yeah.
changed everything that way. But Graham
Oh my
was
God.
so, I mean, so likable. Must give shout out to, this is why I looked up the actors' names for this. Must give shout out to Bradley Walsh for his portrayal of Graham.
Yes. He
Um,
was like, oh my God. I'm a member of the Church of Ruby Sunday. I love Ruby Sunday. Graham came and like hold my beer. He was number one, he was so wholesome despite what happens to him in the first few episodes. He literally loses the love of his life. And I love that he grieves in a way that you don't get to say, oh, he just forgot about his wife. No, his wife is informing like every moment during his run, every good thing that he does. It's a callback to, oh, I did this for my wife, or this is something that I live with her, or this is something because his wife was, a black person. He actually learned what it meant for her and for them to be together, and it made her a very informed person, and that pays off to what he has to offer as a companion. I love that. I love Graham. He's great. I cried all the tears when he finally decided, yeah, I'm going to be that because I have to be there for my grandson.
yeah. Julian, do you have anything to add? Because I have thoughts on Graham, and it's a hot take. So
For me, he had one of the most accurate depictions of somebody grieving in Doctor Who
Yeah.
that I'd seen up to that point. So I liked his arc. I liked that they didn't box it away. He learned to live with it. The scene where he was smelling his wife's clothes, I'm like, thankfully nobody that I know of complained about that because I'm like, this is accurate. This is what
Yeah.
happens to many.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, as an overweight person, I appreciated that he brought cheese and pickle sandwiches when he's going on an adventure because I'm very happy when somebody gives me food. So, really happy with Graham. I
But
really had no complaints because he was
he's
just a guy at work.
he's also older, so he has to watch his blood sugar. I mean, I love the older
Yeah.
companion. But what I was going to say, it's a hot take about Graham, is that is how to write a companion arc, right? Not Amy Pond avoiding getting married and treating Rory like garbage, right? Like that actually bothered me. I wanted to like Amy so badly, but she sucks so hard where Rory was concerned. She was awful.
I love Amy, and I will be the first one to tell you you are correct.
Yeah, like
Why is that
awful.
a hot take?
Like, because they need the thing of why do they want to leave their life? And Donna made sense because her life was sort of boring, right? Amy was avoiding life. But Graham, the grief element, Julian, I do think it kept him busy. It took him away from the day to day, so he doesn't have to spend every day with people going, I'm so sorry for your loss. Which, if we could remove a phrase from the grief lexicon, perhaps that
Yeah.
after the funeral, like just take it out because it's empty, you know, up there with thoughts and prayers. But it gave him something to do. It kept him busy. It was new. He did get that new relationship with Ryan, but because it was a contained period and that heart-wrenching episode where he has the frog who looks like his wife in that one set in Norway, was it Denmark? One of
It was
those?
Norway.
Norway. I was right the first time. He does the acceptance, he does the healing, and then it's time to go back. And so they just go on. They're not left pining for the doctor. The 13th Doctor is one of the most responsible doctors in terms of making sure their companions are okay after they go back to their day-to-day lives. And
Yeah, she's also great in which she's not only looking after her companions, she's looking after them from a perspective of someone who has learned what has happened to previous companions. Because when the Cybermen show up, when the Sontaran show up, her immediate reaction is, I cannot lose you the way that I lost them. Julian.
yeah,
I just want to add that thanks to 13 too, she also makes sure they hook up because Graham and Ace are a thing.
that's
The
right.
Yeah.
fandom ship that. They are a thing.
I
And
ship that. I'm a shipper.
And how cute was that? I mean, I forget the characters' names because I just think of Lister from Red Dwarf, the guy in the Flux storyline where they're like trying to get back to each other.
Mhm.
That
Vinder.
Wait.
Vinder,
I
it
always
sounds
forget
so much
his-
like Lister from Red
Yeah.
Dwarf. But yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful story. That was legitimately romantic.
If you heard the
The
complaints I'd
romance
heard.
in the front was so good. My God, there were so many romances.
Yeah. And I mean, what were the complaints?
Oh, it was rushed. It was unrealistic that a woman would go to that much trouble for a man, which I'm just not going to touch with a 10-foot pole. It was unrealistic that the baby could talk to her. And I'm like, it's the 75th century or something. Like
But the doctor speaks baby.
the,
Yeah.
the doctor speaks baby. So I'm just like, what?
Canonically.
It's really stupid that they get a Wookiee because, the dog.
People
Come on.
complained about the
Oh
the
yeah,
dog.
they complained
Oh.
about the Lupari. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Wookiee ordered on Temu was the big one.
I loved the Lupari. And they are wrong.
Yeah.
They are wrong. The Lupari was a callback to the cat people from
Mhm.
the seventh
Yeah.
Doctor.
I was amazed that this actor could emote so well through a whole fursuit that covers his whole face. It was amazing.
And I love
Like-
that he was just not happy to be there. He had
Yeah.
to, and he thought humans were stupid, and
But it
the
was
Wookiee at
his
all.
human, and it was, for honor.
It was almost the opposite of the human dog reaction, where somebody has a really stupid dog, and it's like, this dog's dumb and destroys my stuff, but I love him. He's mine. What can you do?